Austin with the Atlanta Brick Co. And I have a super special, very awesome guest, Lego master. We have Jessica Ragzy.
Hello.
She is actually at our booth selling her wares. We have lots of stuff on sale here at BrickFair, Virginia. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited for this interview.
Now, you told me you haven't been to too many Lego conventions. In fact, is this your first one?
This is my second one.
Okay.
Very exciting.
What's your opinion?
I love it. So many talented people. I love things like this. It's just so authentic and so fun, and it's so nice to see all the builders and creators and just see the talents, you know, from all ages. It's really beautiful.
This is my first big one I've ever been to, and I'm just blown away. I'm just blown away by what I see. Tell us, how have you been? The Lego Masters Season 1, you made it almost to the very end. That is amazing. People still know you. People still talk about you. This is awesome. So tell us, what has life been like for you since then?
It's been pretty good, pretty busy. Unfortunately, I think the pandemic was a roadblock for everybody. Other than that, it's been really great. Just been creating my art. It's so much fun to do these kinds of opportunities too with the Lego community and everything. I really do value these kinds of things. So yeah, just been keeping busy.
And you were already a full-time artist before the show, correct?
Yes. So I'm an entrepreneur and an artist. Lego's one of the media I use. It's probably my most popular media, but I do use other media as well. So I've been working on a lot of different projects, lots of different commissions and things like that.
What is some of your favorite outside of Lego that you use for your art?
Ooh, that's a good question. I do a lot of things with playing cards as well. I like to use them in unique ways. There was a piece I did with some vintage Mickey Mouse playing cards. I like to make pieces out of things like that too, because it's almost a no-no, because it's something maybe you would want to keep those vintage, Mickey playing cards. Maybe they're worth something. So I find these odd and unique styles of playing cards and kind of make things out of them. So that would be probably my second favorite.
I've seen some of that stuff. Go to her website and check it out. They are gorgeous. They're so cool and so unique. Check it out. You've been using Lego in your art for a long time. Do you remember the first one you did, or the first time you thought, you know what, I bet I could do that out of Lego?
The first piece I ever made out of Lego was called Lego Lincoln, and it was a Lego portrait, a mixed media portrait of paint and Lego of Abraham Lincoln. That was my very first one. I thought of it in a dream. I just dreamt it up. I wasn't part of the Lego community. I wasn't shopping at the Lego store. I just, one night I remembered having this dream that I made this piece called Lego Lincoln. And I just thought it was so brilliant. I actually woke myself out of sleep to write it down so I wouldn't forget. And then the next day I went out to get to the materials to make it.
And where did you get your materials?
I went to the Lego store actually for, I think, the first time as an adult. I was like, what is this, And I think ever since then, I've used Lego as a media in my art. I mean, I was hooked. First time I walked in with the pick a brick wall and everything. That's where I got my pieces off the pick a brick wall. And I didn't understand or know how big the adults community was into Lego until I did Lego Masters actually years later. I didn't know.
I didn't realize there was paint in that as well. What was the paint applications on that?
There's different versions, so I do Lincoln a lot. So there's different versions of Lincoln. So I've done Lincoln a lot in many different ways, but each Lincoln that I create is a unique. So there's something unique about it. Could be in the stripes in the background, might be the messages. So the bigger mosaic all Lego pieces, I've done a few of those, but they're all different and unique. I remember my main one, the first one I did that was all Lego, I believe says all men are created equal, which is a part of the Gettysburg Address. Not necessarily attributed to Lincoln, but part of the Gettysburg Address. And the second all Lego Lincoln I did says 77 years ago. So they all have something unique about them, even though it's basically the same image of Lincoln. There's always something different about each piece I do.
Did being on the show changed how you viewed Lego in any way, or maybe opened up your eyes to different ways of building it? You mentioned how you didn't realize there was as big as an adult community until you went into that Lego store, but did being on the show change how you built or change how you thought about Lego in any way?
It did, yeah, I think so. I was always making art pieces out of Lego. The thought in my mind when I make an art piece, how do I make this dazzling or beautiful? And less looking at it from a more technical aspect, yeah. But then on the show, there's a lot of technical stuff involved, right, with gears and motors and all these things. So I was just so fascinated to see all the technical side of Lego too. And I'm somebody personally who does not do architecture out of Lego. You know, very common, very popular. It takes a mass amount of skill to create those things. There was a challenge we did, which was an architecture challenge, and I had never done a building before because I don't do architecture. Just seeing all the different ways how people use the bricks was really cool.
I looked at some of your artwork. It was mosaics, Lego mosaics. But do you do sculpting much in Lego, like 3D sculpting? I've seen that awesome wall you did and the waterfall, and those look amazing. Do you do much 3D sculpting in Lego?
Yeah, well, I just finished up a sculpture, and I'm doing another big sculpture for a client. The last sculpture I did was called Pandora's Box, and it's a black and gold vase with these quirky flowers and weird things coming out of it. I guess the majority, because I don't do it as a hobby, it's basically what the client wants, and the mosaic and the wall art is just in higher demand for me than the sculpture. But I do have a few sculpture commissions, but I don't really make things as a hobby. I make them, you know, per order. And if there is a series that I wanted to do just as an artist that was sculptural, I would do it. I just haven't had my mind set on doing a sculpture series yet. So a lot of the sculptures I do are commission based.
Okay, I love that story you told about how it's almost like the Lego called to you. You had a dream and you woke up and you had to go get it. That's awesome.
Why my bow says dream. You know, it's a very symbolic, it's so simple, but it's such a symbolic word. I literally had this dream. I made this piece of Lego. I had not been in a Lego store. I don't have children or anything. And it just kind of came to me in a dream. And I would have never have imagined that dream would, how big the dream would have like kind of snowballed, yeah, into this huge thing. It is crazy. The word dream is also about following the dream, you know, taking the risk to pursue the art full time. And because I've been an artist for about a decade. I always had a job in addition to the art. A lot of artists have to do that. And then I got to a point where I wanted to do it full time, you know, so I took this risk and just in my art full time, and all these beautiful, you know, things came out of that. So that's what the word too in my bow is about as well. It's about finding the courage to pursue the dream. As far as Lego goes, the first Lego piece I made came to me in a dream. So yeah, just like a little symbolism.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the bow. You mentioned that, of course, there's wardrobe on the show of Lego Masters, but you told me that was totally your style.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And now you sell that. One of your most popular items that you sell is the bows. And let me move the camera and show you these awesome little minifig bows that we have here. Some awesome little Lego dudes right there. And you said that was like a happy accident almost, the discovering that the bows are in high demand, correct?
Yeah, so I had worn the bows on the show for a couple reasons. So I was picking out what I wanted to wear in the show, and I knew I wanted to wear a dress because I just felt a dress would be more comfortable running around, you know, than jeans or something like that. I was fortunate enough that they liked the dresses that I picked. I really wanted to stand out in my own way. I remember like last minute, I stuck this red bow in my hair. It wasn't enough. I wanted to do something artistically with my outfit. So I came up with this idea of putting these words in my hair bows, and each word would represent something about my journey as the artist. That's why episode 1 I wore dream, because I think that's the first step is having the courage to pursue the dream. Second episode I wore a hope, which we also have here as well, and episode 3 was love. And the words really meant something to me because each word came with its own kind of value about my journey as an artist and kind of taking the leap of faith, the struggles I've had to overcome. So I wore it as a tribute to artists and creators, be it Lego builders or artists and creators. But I also wanted to wear the bow to represent women, you know, because I know that the Lego community is a male-dominated community. There are a lot of women who do it, but still more geared towards males, as it seems. And I wanted to wear something that was a symbol that, you know, really represented women. So those are the reasons why I wore the bow. It's so weird how it came out, because I had no intention of selling the bows or anything. I just wore them because for the reasons I gave you, I really liked them. And then I had all these people sending me messages on social media just asking for them, like, where can I buy one? I remember for the first 10 people asked us, like, oh, you know, you can go on a website and just get a bow. And they were like, no, we want your bow from you. And I was like, what? I was confused. I didn't get it. And then I started getting just so many people asking for them. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I opened up a little bow shop and started selling the bows, and they were selling, and I couldn't believe it, you know. So it's just a fun, you know, little thing that I do. I love the bows, and people seem to like them too. So yeah, it's just crazy how it happened. Yeah,
it is neat to see the little girls walk by and they just see this oh, and they look at all this cool stuff, and it really attracts their attention. It's really neat. And we have her Minifig, a sig fig, on display as well. We're selling those, and you said these are custom printed?
Yes, they're custom printed. They did a great job.
Can you tell us about projects you're working on now, either Lego or otherwise?
There's a few I can't talk about, but the ones I can, I'm working on a few commissions now. One is actually I have two commissions for a Maryland piece, because Lincoln is, I think, my most sought out piece, and I also do different portraits of Marilyn Monroe out of Lego. That's probably my second most requested piece. Actually, they're probably neck and neck, actually. Lincoln and Marilyn, now that I think about it, they're probably equally, even though Lincoln was first, probably equally as sought out. So I'm working on a couple different commissions of my rendition of Marilyn Monroe. I'm also working on another vase, a flower vase, but it's going to be space themed. So it's going to be very exciting to make and filled with a lot of fun things. I can't wait.
That is awesome. One story you were telling me about that I thought was so interesting, that people know you for your art, people know you for Lego, and then people know you for a newer thing you've gotten into. Is it cryptocurrency? How do you say it?
Oh, cryptocurrency, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But sometimes those three fan bases don't intersect and they don't know you. Could you explain that a little bit? This is so weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an odd one. I have a lot of hobbies and a lot of different interests. So, you know, I do the arts, and I realize how different the fine arts is from the Lego art community, because, you know, Lego builders consider themselves artists, and they are artists. But the fine art community is so different than the Lego art community. So I have these two communities now that kind of blended, you know, through social media and things like that. But I'm also really into crypto. You know, I do digital art too. So there's digital art called NFTs, which stands for non-fungible token, which is a fancy word of just saying a digital art piece that is encrypted, so you know that it belongs to you. So I've been making these art creations out of Lego digitally, and they get encrypted, and they're purchased on the blockchain, which I'm sure people, even if they don't know crypto, have heard of the blockchain. And
just to explain that, it's basically like a digital serial number to prove that this piece is the original. Is that correct?
Essentially, yeah. They can't really be duplicated, because once you, it's called minting. Once you mint an NFT, it has its own unique, encryption or code, and it can get traded. You can trade them kind of like baseball cards, but you do this all digitally. So it's very exciting. My first series I did of digital art is called Bite Candy, and they're digital. They're supposed to resemble those edible candy hearts that you would see on Valentine's Day or something, but they're made of Lego. And they say unconventional phrases on it, things you wouldn't find on an actual candy heart. And I think, and they're really nifty, and they've been moving. You know, people have been buying it. I don't know who's been buying them, but people seem to really resonate with the messages. And you see how personal it is too through my arts, because there it is again, the words and the messages in the art. It was just kind of like the hair bows.
Yeah.
The word, and on those candy hearts, it only has 1 or 2 words, but something resonates with the collector. They just have to have it. So, the words and the phrases too in my art has been this continuous theme too. Sometimes the words are very obvious, but other times I've actually hidden messages in my art. That's something I'm kind of known for. You don't necessarily know it's there, and then you see it and it's revealed later. So it's been interesting to see which hearts are the most sought out.
So instead of, can you give us an example? Instead of kiss me, hug me, they say...
Talk nerdy to me.
That's a popular one, I assume, right?
Yeah, that one was popular. We got what party?
Nice.
We got go away.
The anti-heart.
They're black. Then
See? See, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. I'm not that dull.
What party and go where in black and red. And I think people who are looking for it, they just see it and they get it. And I think it's really, I did one recently. It says Rick and Morty. He's loving it. See? They love it. And,
This is awesome.
yeah, and digital art collectors see it, and if they get it, they buy it. I mean, they just have to have it. What I love about my candy hearts is I feel like not every heart is meant for every person, because the right person will be in on the joke that's on the heart.
Well, that's like visual art, too. It's that has to speak to you.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, not everyone can appreciate the same thing, but if it resonates to you and it causes an emotion in you, then that's why it becomes personal. That's why it becomes value.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. That's so cool.
And I love that. I genuinely put like my love and emotion into the arts, because a lot of digital art, sometimes it's computerized. The computer makes it. I actually make all my digital hearts. Like I make them. And
what do you draw on?
I use like Studio IO and all the Adobe programs and anything a digital creator would use. But a lot of these times with this NFT, they're computer generated. So the computer you put in the concept and it generates the art. I am hand designing those phrases and hand designing the hearts and picking the color patterns. So that's why there's not many of them. When you have a computer generate, the CryptoPunks is like the first ones, 10,000 of those, about 10,000 of those, I believe, because the computer just shoots them out. But I'm making them like one by one. But I'm putting my emotion into that digital piece, and I really think about the messages. That's why there's not so many. I don't just like throw them up there, oh, this would be cool or that, because I really want it to resonate with whoever's buying it. And so far, so good. And ones that I felt like people wouldn't even buy, like sold immediately. Like I had one that said caffeine. It was like gone in 24 hours. Like
People love their coffee.
yeah, and that's about my caffeine addiction, because I have to drink like 3 coffees a day. It's not healthy. I wouldn't recommend it, but there's times in my life I was working so hard, I just needed caffeine. It's just like a thought, caffeine. It's so interesting to me to see which ones go immediately. The Rick and Morty was in pretty high demand.
I imagine, yeah.
I remember 3 people wanted it, and they're like, oh, I'm not sure, because crypto is new. They weren't sure how to purchase it. And then somebody saw it and snagged it and relisted it for like 10 ETH, which is I think like around $25,000.
Wow.
If they buy it, they can resell it for whatever price they want. So that's the allure of buying early, because if your digital art becomes more valuable, you can flip it and resell it for whatever. And I have no say over what the price is. After it's in somebody else's wallets, they're in complete control. So whoever bought that must believe that eventually, or maybe soon, who knows, that one's going to be worth X amount, or they just don't want to sell it. They love it so much. That's the price they're willing to let it go.
Yeah. Would you ever reproduce any of those in physical form, Lego or otherwise?
We shall see.
We will
see.
Oh no. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
If you had advice for people who want to be on season 3, if there's going to be a season 3 of Lego Masters, what would you tell them?
It's not all glitz and glam. It's really hard work. That's for anybody in the TV, film, reality, whatever industry it is. TV is hard. It's an industry, it's a business, and it's hard work. It's long hours. I would give like weird advice that you wouldn't hear. So one piece of advice I would give is go to the gym. is really work out every day and work out early. You know, whatever time you wake up, 8, work out at 6 or 7. And because I feel like you do need to be physically prepared before you do something like this. I wish I knew sooner I was going to be on the show, because I would have physically prepared myself more. Because it's such long days, you get exhausted. So I think like physical fitness, or just putting yourself through, you know, that kind of pain you feel from exercising so early is good, because, you know, TV, you get tired. So it kind of will adjust your body to it. So I would say exercise, and exercise specifically in the morning when you don't want to wake up, because guess what they're going to do? They're going to wake you up early, you know, and put you on that show. So, you know, there's a time schedule and everything. So I'd say that, and go with an open mind, an open heart. You know, I know it's TV, but be authentic. I think, you know, in life, whether it's TV or whatever you're doing, I feel like you should really understand what your values are. And I'm a big believer in really knowing what those values are, because if you know what your values are, you will stick to them no matter what in any given situation. Your values don't necessarily change. I always say, like, you can lose your health and your wealth, but not your character. Your character stays with you. So I feel like if you know who you are and you're grounded in your values, no matter what comes at you, it doesn't matter, because you're going to stick to those values. So I think those kinds of things are really important when doing a TV show, or any big competition or obstacle in life are really important. Just know your values.
I think that's amazing advice, and very pragmatic too. Thank you so much. So this is the part of the show where we say, plug yourself. Where can people find you, find your art, or if they want to purchase something from you?
They can go to my website, ragzyart.com. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Ragzy Art, RAGZYART. Some people might not know that. I go by Ragzy in the art world, so it's all Ragzy Art. Yeah.
Okay. Where did that name come from?
Ragzy is a little story, but oh, look, the fans are coming. We'll say hi, and we're almost done, sweetie. I started out my art career as a mural artist, actually, and I was painting a mural outside, and it was very cold. I remember it was like a holiday mural, especially for the holidays. Very cold, very early in my career. Because it was so cold, I was wearing so many layers. I was kind of dressed like I looked like I was homeless, right? Because it's cold outside, but it's also, I'm going to be covered in paint, so you're not going to wear your best clothes, right? There was a karate studio next door, and these kids had come out from their karate class. One kid goes, look, there's some bum painting the window. Yeah, I looked at the kid, I said, I'm not a bum, I'm an artist. And he goes, ha, Rags the artist. And I was like, oh, but I love that. You know, it's kind of taking something negative and turning into something positive. So for a little while, I went as Rags the artist. I was known as Rags the artist. This girl dressed in rags and did these murals. My gallerist had suggested we change it. And I remember I walked into my gallery one day, and they were like, again, somebody making fun of me. They were like, oh, look, it's little Ragsy. And I was like, oh, that's it. That's what it is. It's Ragsy. So that's how I got my nickname, Ragsy.
That's cool. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. And we will let your fans come up to you now.
Yes,
we've been blocking them. All right, let's go.
Bye, everybody.
I've got a ton more BrickFair Virginia stuff to show you guys, so stay tuned.